The more that I move through this world, the more that I realize that this is not just about power and control. It's a battle of good and evil. That's just what it is. The powers that be that are in control of how the world moves are banking on the fact that the vast majority of people either lack the life experience to understand what's going on, don't take the time to pay attention, or won't break out of their tribal mindset to question what's going on. They simply want to get back to their life as normal, and understandably so, but they're banking on that. It takes life experience, long-term research, and a real critical discernment for understanding what's happening in the world to even see the true picture of what's going on. And then once you actually can see it, you need things to happen over a period of time in order for you to even be convinced that what you're seeing is actually real. You're like, well, if this happens going forward, then I'll know for sure. It takes life experience, it takes research, it takes time, it takes independent thinking, critical thinking skills, and a real deep understanding not only of yourself, but what the world may actually be beyond what we think it is. From when you're young to probably your mid-20s, basically the only objective that you have is to enjoy, have fun, live your life. If you have the capability of recognizing how significant it is to be in your teens and be in your early 20s, be in college, whatever, your priorities in life are not to necessarily understand the world, but really understand yourself and your place in it. I really don't think it's till you're probably mid to late 20s that you even realize that, all right, I'm going to be 30 soon. I have to figure out how to make enough money. I got to figure out where my career is going to go. Do I want a family? Do I want a wife and kids, or whatever the case may be? And you have to figure out now, all right, I want to keep having fun. I want to enjoy this, but I want to make some type of plan for the future so that as I'm moving through having enjoyment, that I also make sure that I'm kind of keeping up to pace with what I would need in order to have a fruitful and prosperous life. Now, even once you start to understand it, it takes time to see it play out over a period of years before you're really even completely convinced, because you understand that your independent mindset, most people are not just teaching you this. You have to figure it out on your own. You have to do all the research. You have to understand that you might see the world different than 99% of the people around you, or at least what it seems to be 99%. Now, once you start to see the true picture, it becomes a pretty lonesome discovery. It's like, here I am just wanting to live my life and just enjoy this ride. Yet now I'm kind of privy to this understanding of really the great beyond the truth. And then if you feel like you have a leadership mindset, or if you have this sort of altruism of wanting to give back to the world, which I do believe is kind of innate in ourselves, we want to evolve, we want to help people. Even babies it's in their DNA to want to help someone. Have studies been done where you drop a pencil and a baby wants to reach to grab the pencil. If somebody appears to be hungry, a baby will hand their food, even when they're hungry, to someone else. It's in your DNA, it's part of existence. As you begin to see this world through this different lens, you just can't help but think to yourself, how do most people not see this? And it's the wanting to do the research, it's the just wanting to live your life and not pay attention to this. It's negative, it's bad, whatever. I'm going to give back in these ways, but this is something that's beyond my control, or whatever the case may be. Most people don't want to talk about it, don't want to think about it, and they just feel like the machine's going to keep churning along, and I'm going to be long gone and they're going to be continuing to do this, so why even try? Because at the end of the day, what this life and what this world really is nothing more than a perspective. It's your vision of what it is. Absolutely no one, I don't care who they are, where they are, how old they are, where they're from, or what they think they know, absolutely nobody knows more about this life than anybody else. You are all stuck with the exact same entry point. You came in and you tried to figure it out. Some people may have more experience operating in one sector or another, but nobody truly knows what this is. All you have is yourself and your perspective of it. So here we are on this spinning blue rock in the middle of an infinitely expanding universe, which is beyond measure, existing at this point in time of which we don't know where it began, or if it even began, or if it ever is to end. We don't even know what this is, yet people will come out there and say, oh, it's this. I saw it here, I saw it there. And it's like, Fam, nobody knows what this is. Like I said, it's just a perspective. There's a really good argument to say that absolutely no one exists in the world but you. Is this just nothing more than a simulation to help your soul, your spirit evolve to the next level? What is this flesh vehicle that we're even in? What is this life? What is this time? Is everything not just here to teach us a lesson? Nobody truly knows, which is why it's a perspective-based reality. Yet seemingly many people will fail to even question this. It's like, what if there are people that have been declared legally dead that have come back to life, and they say that they saw their body from above, they were hovering above their body? What saw it? Well, how do you see your own body without eyes? How do you explain clairvoyance and a variety of other things? How do you explain these things? What I believe the answer is that the fact that we don't know is built into the game. It's built into the ride. That's the point. It has to be that way in order for it to be this way. It has to be unsure. It has to be uncertain. It has to be, where even are we? We can't even measure the beyond the universes that we're even in. We don't know if there's a million or a quadrillion or a number that you can't even count of universes even out there. Yet we think that we have this understanding of what life really is, and we just don't. Okay, now if we're still on the same page and we have this kind of similar existential understanding of what life even is, now let's take a look back down to the Earth's crust and look at what's happening around us. There is this concept of yin and yang, essentially the idea of duality, the fact that there are equal and opposing forces at all times. I used to believe that this state that the world appears to be in right now was all about power and control and money, and let it be known that it most certainly is. But as I take a step back and get more integrated into the humanness of society, especially being here in Vegas and seeing mass gatherings of people, it just makes me realize that it's far beyond even that perspective. It is a battle of good and evil. It is not about power and control just here on Earth. It's part of the entire, like the greater picture of it all, the greater scheme and what it is, and what we have to do in this existence in order to contribute to progress of it. I believe that the purpose of life, at least this one that we're in right now, is to evolve, to choose love over fear, and to figure out how to grow, improve, and harness the capacities of your soul so that it can continue to get better and better and improve, so that more souls can also follow the same journey to becoming closer to love, being more involved, and spreading and growing and expanding it. Nature is a reflection of life, and what is the universe doing at all times? Expanding, improving, and growing. And the beautiful part of it all is that you are integral to the progress of this. Human beings are like moss, again, the reflection of nature. Look how moss grows. Do a little bit of research on how moss grows. Moss thrives because the other moss around it has proper nutrition and is also growing and thriving. If some of the moss dies, it kills the other moss around it. The entire group is inherently motivated to help the entire organism grow and be healthy. So now the next question is, as you navigate this existence, is what is your position? Where are you going to be in the duality of this? Are you just going to try to live your life, make sure that you take care of what you're going to take care of, and do the best you can for yourself, the people around you, your community, your family, whatever? Or are you going to try to contribute back in a significant way to this greater picture that you've taken the time to understand? Because what I believe that we are witnessing is a massive paradigm shift in, I don't know what to even call it, the history of human existence, the world, the combined organism that is all of us, ourselves, the earth, the universe, whatever it is. There's this massive evolutionary paradigm shift, this new understanding, this great realization of what's actually happening, of our surroundings. And it's kind of like you have to kind of pick which direction you want to go. Are you choosing to be complacent, compliant, and self-serving, Or are you going to try to contribute back your talents to the greater good? Because without the bravery and effort of many people that want to be on the side of love, on the right side of this, fighting for good, all of those people are necessary in order to fight off evil. Because what it comes down to is that at every point in human existence, there has been this battle of good and evil. And the vast majority of the time, good has won. And sometimes it takes time for these shifts to happen. But for us to sit here in this existence and have no awareness to what's gone on in the past and think that somehow, because we live in this nice, polished, shiny world, that somehow this battle no longer exists. The difference is that it just exists in a different form. That's how it is. When we look back at all of the struggles that have happened in history, looking at it from, in the rearview mirror, it's so easy to discern the difference between what's good and what's wrong, because we've had the advantage of time and our view of the current world to see what was so wrong about it. Because let it be known that all of those bad things ended because good people saw, acted on, and executed what they thought was necessary in order for good to prevail. It was good people, good human beings, just like me or you. No, not some great, grand, all-powerful person. It was the unification of people fighting for good. Why all of those bad things ceased to exist. So now in this generation, at this very moment in time, though the enemy, so to speak, looks different and is wearing different clothes and it's coming at you in a different way, the battle rages on. The question is will you be a person that's on the side fighting for good, for what is right, that future generations will look back upon and be thankful for, just like we are for all of the ones who came before us? Because we are dealing with a very tactical, sharp, ever-evolving, and shape-shifting target. They are very intuitive, and their understanding of how humans behave, especially in mass, is even more sophisticated now than ever before. So too must those fighting for good evolve in that way and be perceptive enough to recognize it. Like I said, people recognized all those bad things in the past, but at the time it was very hard to discern what was right and what was wrong, especially because everybody thought it was all right. Well, doesn't that seem familiar to the environment that we're in today? As you walk around with everybody so mindlessly compliant to all of these things and just looking at the 50 people around them and being like, well, they're doing it, so it's fine. It's like, do you see the truth? And then comes the conclusion, the existential question. Do you have what it takes? Because not only were you able to see it, but you were able to research it. You were able to pursue it up to this point where you would even consume a piece of information or content, even like this video. You have the capacity to see it. You know it. You can feel it inherently in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. You understand that something needs to be done. The question is will you act upon it? Will you be one of those people that we look back upon and thank and say, wow, can you imagine what the world would be like if it weren't for them? The world is ultimately changed by people, by a few that join together, unify, and spread the truth, the awareness. And then when other people that also see it, when they hear the truth, when they hear information, when they hear knowledge, I believe that you're not hearing it for the first time. I believe that it's instinctively in your gut. And that feeling that you get when you hear something is just the external validation, and you get that instinctual spark that helps you know this already aligns with what I believe. You're not hearing the information for the first time. You're just hearing it validated externally. You already know inside what needs to be done and what the truth really is. The best way to fight against evil is the truth. The best way for you to contribute to the greater good for the future generations is knowledge. Each of us has the capacity to end this mayhem, to push the world in the right direction. And despite all of the pushback, not only socially, through society, and whatever else. I do believe that the universe, or whatever you want to refer to it as, has a way of conspiring around the greatest good. The road will rise to meet you. The question is do you believe that your contribution is necessary, and will you act upon it for the future of the world?